This is the Songwriter Connection, the award-winning elite music podcast of the year, connecting the songs and the people who write them. Welcome, songwriters, friends of the song, and fans of great music. Pull up a chair around the dining room table. From his home in Nashville, Tennessee, here's your host, songwriter and storyteller, Dave Linehan.
Hey, hope you're doing well. Thank you for finding our podcast. This is episode 272, we're going to call it. A steamy day, summer day here in Nashville. They're saying like the heat index today is like 111. So
crazy.
Stay hydrated, right?
Yes.
Absolutely. I've got a great guest today. I've had the great opportunity to write with him. We shared the stage at the Bluebird not too long ago.
We did.
And that was a thrill. What a great show
that was so fun.
This is Erik Halbig, and let me tell you a little bit about Erik. Welcome to the show. I'll tell you a little bit about him. He is he's worked with so many artists, and you've heard a lot of his work. Maybe you don't know the name or the face, but you've heard him because he's played with Sarah Evans, Sugarland, Jake Owen, Thompson Square, Ty Herndon. In fact, he produced the last 5 albums on Ty, and Colin Ray who tours with both of those guys out on the road. He produced a Grammy-nominated song for Ty called House on Fire, and we'll talk about that. And he's written songs for Ty and Thompson Square and Low Cash and Jamie O'Neill and others. In addition to that, he's a producer. He is a mentor. All hats, right, Erik? Is that pretty much what you got to do today?
All hat, no cattle.
Yeah, man. Yeah. But
master of none.
I'm master of 3. Quick, fast, and easy.
Exactly.
Anyway, it's good to have you, man.
It's good to be here.
Yeah. So, where do we begin with you? I mean, you do so much. It started with guitar, didn't it? Or did it?
Yeah. Yeah, I moved.
Session work and stuff?
I moved to Nashville in 1995.
95, wow.
And my goal was, just to get on a tour bus, and go play with some of these cool country artists, and travel around the country and play guitar.
Yeah.
And I was kind of dabbling in writing back then, but,
were you?
I came to Nashville and I was like, oh, okay, I need to learn some stuff about songwriting.
And you had a great mentor, too, didn't you?
Yeah, well, Jeffrey Steele was, kind of my mentor because I played in his band and, we'd be out on a road trip. Him and I would just go play duo gigs together,
Wow.
and he'd say, play me some of your stuff, and he would critique my stuff. And he was not just being my friend. He was a critical friend. Uh-huh. And he would say, hey, man, this is what you can do better. This is good, but it's got to be great,
It's got to be great today.
And, figure out a way to twist these words around, make it more interesting.
Mm-hmm.
There's Patty.
Patty.
And so he really taught me so much about, even making up words, which
he would do,
which I do still to this day, and I'll play a couple of those too, where I made up some words.
Good,
but it's got to be something different and unique, and have a good buddy of mine. When I first moved to town, he had just signed a publishing deal with EMI, and his name's Ken Harrell. Mm-hmm. Shout out Ken Harrell. He's the first guy that ever gave me a shot to write with, and he taught me a lot too. He said one thing that I still remember to this day: each verse needs to have a firecracker.
Ooh.
It's got to have that little explosion, a little firecracker that goes, people go, whoa, what was that?
What is that?
Yeah.
I never heard that before.
Yeah. And I hadn't either. And I was like, oh, wow, okay, all right, that's a good goal to have, and I'll just, And so what
Can
that
you give
means,
an example of a firecracker?
So like a line that it kind of jumps out and, a different way of saying something,
Well, since we talked about Jeffrey Steele, how about the line? We weren't just needy. We weren't just poor. We were dirt floor poor.
Exactly.
And I always thought, well, there's a different way to say it.
Exactly. Like that. And he would make up words like gotta haveable.
Gotta haveable. That's
Remember
right.
that in Unbelievable, that Diamond Rio.
Gotta haveable. Yep.
But we used to play. I used to play those songs with Jeff. We'd play, maybe once a month at Douglas Corner.
Wow.
And he was like on fire, like everything he was writing at that point was getting cut.
Oh, he was.
Being big singles and stuff like that. I remember we would play, and then we went out on tour with Tim McGraw. This is a funny story because, Tim had just had Cowboy and Me had just gone to #1.
That was a Jeff song. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so he brought Jeff out to open the shows for him. And we're opening the shows for him. And he's playing like all these hits that he wrote. But never once did he say, I wrote these songs. And I said, Jeff, we sound like a really good cover band. And I think these people probably think that you're just some cover band. You got to tell them that you wrote the songs. You know?
Yeah, and I bet you there were people that did that.
I'm sure
these guys are playing covers.
Yeah, I mean, like we're playing, you know, like Rascal Flatts and Montgomery Gentry, the ones that they cut, you know.
Yeah.
And he never once said, "Oh yeah, I wrote these songs," you know. So
Jeff, come on,
right? Exactly. Give yourself a little pat on the back, you know.
I got to meet him, and I bet you I brought him on stage 3 or 4 times. He used to come to Cincinnati a lot, and put on seminars, and he was very gracious with his time. And I remember asking him, because I had met him very early in the career. He was with Boy Howdy.
That's right.
And he was a part of a show that we always, in fact, Jeff called it the Elvis Show. It was the summer that Achy Breaky Heart hit.
I remember that summer.
And Billy Ray played our Chili Fest in Cincinnati.
Wow.
And there were 50,000 people hanging from the telephone pole, up on the roof of all the buildings around us.
God, that was amazing.
And Boy Howdy opened, and it made it quite an impression. But I remember talking to Jeff then, and he was telling me how he loved writing songs. Yeah. And he said, I think I just want to write songs more than anything right now. And then, a few years later, I'm interviewing him. We did this show as a TV show in Cincinnati. Mm-hmm. It was on cable TV, and he was on a couple of times. And I said, Jeff, so what changed? When I first met you, you said you were getting into songwriting, it was becoming more and more important to you. And now today, you're Songwriter of the Year. How did it happen? And he said, I wrote it down. I go, what?
Yeah.
I wrote it down. I wrote it down, put pen to paper, that this is what and I think that
manifestation, right?
Yeah. And I started doing that and things I was doing in my life, my goals,
right?
Writing them out. Yeah. And, hey, that was important to me,
Yeah.
And so he made a big impression.
Yeah. Well, he used to also say that, don't write what's happening right now.
Right.
Write your thing, and it's going to be the next thing. And when he did that, and his thing was the next thing,
It really was.
Yeah. He said, I just keep rewriting Sweet Home Alabama, And then everybody kept doing that,
Yeah.
And then he goes, well, now everybody's doing that. Now I'm already onto this new thing.
Yes.
They're already behind. They're catching up with what I just did. Now I'm onto this new thing. And then that was like the next hot thing, And
he would tell us that, what you're hearing on the radio is 5 years behind.
Yeah.
It's 5 years behind.
Yeah.
And so the best thing I could tell you as a songwriter, maybe you would agree, is if you stay true to yourself and you evolve as a writer,
right.
You can stay ahead of it because there's not another you, right?
Exactly.
So, and that's kind of what he did.
It really is.
He brought that whole West Coast thing with him,
Yep.
and it helped change country music.
Yeah. So when he was playing in Boy Howdy, he was playing that same circuit I was in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
They had a bunch of, in the early mid 90s, all those big giant honky tonks out there.
Yeah.
And we were all playing. His band was playing. My band was playing 6-7 nights a week, playing every night, and just kicking butt over there. And then they got their record deal, and then he moved to Nashville, and I moved a couple years later.
Yeah. So you knew him back then. You guys were buddies hanging out.
Not we weren't really close, but we were just kind of like knew of each other, and
Gotcha.
and then when by the time I got here, Boy Howdy was ending.
Yeah.
And he got a solo record deal with Sony.
And I remember that.
And he was like, hey, I got a deal with Sony. I'm going to go do some shows. Come play guitar for me. And I'm like,
did you? Well, that was a great album.
Yeah.
There
was something in the water.
Yeah. I remember that crossing.
And and so we were out promoting that song. And it was funny because he did CRS one year, and he played this song called Good to Go. And it was about, your kid leaving to go to college and stuff like that. It was about his kid going to college. And everybody freaked out. All the radio people were like, oh my God, why don't you put that out? And he goes, okay. So he put it out, and nobody played it.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
That's
but I mean, he's written so many massive songs for other artists and stuff like that. And and when he sings the songs, that's arguably better than when the artist, And I think even the artist would say, like, we're just trying to sing it like Jeff does,
Evidence to that is still to this day, if there's a Jeffrey Steele show here in a town, it sells out. And quickly. He's that big. So you were in that band. So you had to learn a lot through just osmosis, sharing that stage.
Gosh, it was so great. Well, it was the great songwriting, learning experience, as well as just, probably my favorite gig I've ever done, working with an artist. Absolutely. Yeah. It was so fun. We'd play for 4 hours straight.
Oh, and that's no lie, folks.
And never
take a break.
No set list.
And no set.
And he'd just start playing the songs. We're like, okay, and we just got to jump in, and like, I hope I can figure that. We'll figure it out.
my buddy Stevie C, who was from Cleveland,
that's right, yeah,
also played lead guitar in that band. How do you guys play for 4 hours straight and I never take a break? We just do.
Yeah, he
have to go to the bathroom 3 or 4 times.
He doesn't stop. Yeah. Well, Steve took over in that band when I left.
Is that he? Okay.
Because I was trying to do Jeff's gig, and then I got hired to play with Sarah Evans.
Yeah.
And things just got kind of busy, and I wasn't able to do it. And then Steve just kind of became the main guy.
So you've got some stories from the road, I'll bet.
For
Sarah
sure.
Evans, Times Square. Who else?
With Jake Owen and
Jake Owen,
Thompson Square.
Sugarland is the one I was trying to think of. Those must have been some trip.
That was fun because we met. I was playing with Sarah, and we were on the Brad Paisley tour. And Brad was the headliner, Sarah was the middle act, and Sugarland was the opening act.
Okay.
And so I got to know, they were a trio at the time.
That's right.
And so
Kristen Bush, I think, was
Christian and Kristen.
Yeah.
And then Jennifer Nettles. Right. And so they were a trio. And we spent a whole year together. I was eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner with Jennifer Nettles and Christian Bush. We just became really good friends.
Did you write? Could you write on the road? No. No. Oh, well. No.
I'll tell you that story, too.
Okay.
Because I wanted to.
Uh-huh.
But they had very strict rules about that.
Yeah.
And, and so we were out there. And then after that tour ended, Kristen left.
Yep.
And Christian called me and was like, hey, man, Kristen left, and we really like you. We'd like you to come take her spot. And I'm like, to be part of the trio? And they go, well, no, we're going to be a duo now. And I was like, oh, man, I really want to be a part of the trio.
Yeah, no kidding, man.
And so anyway, I said, well, I'm really wanting to try and focus more on writing and producing right now, so I don't really, but how about this? Why don't I come out and play with you until you find somebody that you really want to do the gig? And so they go, yeah, okay, we could do that. And I said, what's your first show? And he go, well, the first show is the Grammys.
Oh, well.
Like next week.
Next week.
Yeah. So, and I was like, okay,
I'm there.
Yeah,
I'll do that.
All right, yeah, I'll be there.
And you did a lot of those shows. You did like the CMAs and the ACMs,
CMAs.
And even The View, right?
Sarah, yeah. We did it with Sarah. She was at that time. I was with her when she had Suds in the Bucket. And,
great song.
And that whole record, with Perfect and. Real Fine Place to Start. We were in the video for that also. And, but, at that time, she was firing on all cylinders. It was kind of the high end of her career.
Yeah.
And so she was getting nominated for Female Vocalist of the Year, and so we did the CMAs twice, we did the ACMs twice. And one of the years that we did the CMAs was at Madison Square Gardens.
No kidding.
It was the one year that they did it there. It just happened to be the year that one of the years I was doing it. So.
Where Taylor and Kelsey are getting married at Madison Square Garden.
Are they really?
Yeah, have you seen that?
I didn't see that.
Yeah,
oh my gosh. That's
they're building like a castle inside.
Oh,
it's crazy. It's
okay,
nuts.
well, that's appropriate for them, I guess. Money is no object, right?
So you came here as a session musician, pretty much.
Yeah,
and that's what you wanted to do.
And then I was a road guy.
A road guy. Okay.
I was playing on the road, and doing 200, 250 days a year. I started out with Rebecca Lynn Howard. Was my very first act I played with them on MCA, and I think we played. No, maybe that was with the Kinleys. We played
I love them too.
The Cincinnati, the Chili Fest.
Oh yeah. I do. I kind of remember that.
I'm pretty sure I was with the Kinleys at that time.
Be darned.
Yeah.
So we met way back when.
Yeah. And then I went on to play with Ty after that, and that was probably 99, 2000 or something like that. Yeah. Played with him for a little while, and then went on to play with Jeff and doing his thing, and then Sarah. Played with her for 3.5 years, and I was with Jake Owen for a couple years, and then just, in between that, just working with a bunch of different people. Shelley Wright's one of my best friends, and I've, worked with
Always loved her too.
Over the years, and still love her, and we still, talk all the time, and, whenever she does shows, she calls me.
She played at one of our Chili Fests with Michael Peterson. I just had Michael on the show a while back, just a couple weeks ago. And we taled about that day, those days.
I love it.
So when did the songwriting bug hit you?
So it's always been there. And I've always kind of been like, when I was out on the road, I was teaching guitar lessons at home. I was teaching at a music store in Franklin called Shuff's Music. I was taught there for like 27 years.
Wow.
At that same store.
Wow.
But it was great because I could go, when I was gone for a few weeks at a time, I just tell my students, hey, I'm going to be gone. I'll see you when I get back. So it was great to have that as a fallback. Like whenever the gigs end or an artist gets pregnant, Sarah Evans, for a couple times, that she got pregnant, and we're off of work. And I'm like, well, okay.
It's good to have that fallback.
Be able to go teach. Yeah. So it all kind of worked out.
Well, even Mozart did that, Those guys, they talk when they
when
they weren't
for sure.
composing. Yeah. Anyway.
And then, and during that time, I was always writing songs. I was always kind of doing sessions and doing showcases around town with new artists and stuff like that. One of the new artists that I did a showcase with was Jason Aldean.
Wow.
I played the showcase, I think, when he got signed.
Isn't that great?
Yeah.
And so you do a lot of work with these young artists and help to bring them. Artist development is a big part of what you do.
It is. Yeah. And I think that, because, and you and I were talking about this before we started this, but, being out on radio tours and stuff like that, I learned so much, such a valuable information from sitting and talking to program directors, all around the country. Why would you why would you add this song and not add this song? And,
it's an art.
Understanding the business, understanding that radio makes their money from advertising,
That's right.
and when you have a 30 song, you have like a 20 song, no commercials.
That's right.
What are they picking? They're not picking 4-minute songs. They're picking like 2.5-minute songs.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
I mean, they got to get back to those commercials.
And especially like an afternoon morning drive, those you've got all these commercials, but you also got to time it to traffic and weather and all that stuff. And I remember doing afternoon drive in Cincinnati. And the story I always tell, Eric, was program director comes in my office one day and he says, I want you to listen to this song. Tell me what you think. And I'll tell you the song. It was Rascal Flatts, I'm Moving On.
Oh, man.
It was 4 minutes and 20 seconds long. And I listened to it.
Oh, wow, that's a long one.
And it was the first listen, and I'm doing a million other things. Because what do you think? I go, man, that's slow. It's long. To me, it drags. And I'm thinking, how am I going to time that in and get the traffic and everything?
Right, exactly.
I don't have time for a 4.5 minute song. And he goes, well, I just want you to play it this afternoon anyway. And you're the boss. And so I played it, and oh my God, immediately.
Take off.
We could be wrong. We could be wrong.
Yeah.
But it had a different meaning to a lot of different folks.
Right.
And so that's when I admit I was wrong on. And D. Vincent Williams, who wrote that song not too long ago, I ran into him at the
local. He's a good buddy of mine,
And I told him that, saying, you weren't the only one,
Yeah, right.
But
that song never went to number one, I don't think.
I don't think it ever did, but it meant so much to people. Like addiction, became like an anthem to folks. Right. And so... but yeah, it's how do you choose, right?
Exactly.
And for me, it was just timing, basically.
Right, totally. And I know there's a lot of radio programmers that is too. And so you think about that when you're writing songs. It's like you got to be careful about having a 4-minute song. If it's as good as I'm Moving On, then maybe you can get away with it. But.
Well, here's another thing that you say that. Okay, so intros on songs. Okay, and demos, you don't want to have a 20-second intro.
Right.
And you're like people. If you're using Suno right now, Suno 5.5, they always giving you like a 5-second intro.
Long, yeah.
By the way, I found a way around that. You just say no intro, and they'll still give you like maybe 7 or 8, 12 seconds. Yeah. But now that's a double-edged sword. Okay, to get a cut, you don't want them waiting.
Right.
You don't want anybody listening to that song having to wait 20, 25 seconds to get to the first. You don't have that time. You have like 30 seconds total.
Yeah.
So, but DJs love those songs.
They can talk over it, huh?
That's right. That's right.
I never thought about that. See, this is great information.
The rule was you don't talk over dead air. You talk over, and you don't talk over the end of that song. You talk over that intro.
Right.
If it's 12 seconds long, you got 11 and a half seconds to get whatever you're going to say.
I love that. So, this is valuable information.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That a lot of songwriters never even think about.
Never even think about it. But if you are writing and you are producing for a demo for decision makers to hear, keep the intro short, right?
Yes, yeah, for sure.
Hey, I could talk to you all day about this stuff, but I want to hear some of your music, man. I know you've written some great songs because we shared the stage of the Bluebird and you just killed that night.
Thank you.
It was just a great round. We had you and we had Taylin, who we've written with before. Taylin from San Diego.
Yep.
And we had, who else was with that?
We
had Allie Colleen, who's been on this show so many times. I was so happy that she could play, that she agreed to play. And then we had Johnny Garcia stick.
Johnny, yes.
Johnny was Garth and Trisha's
guitar buddy.
Well, so we had two great lead guitar players on the stage. How could you go wrong?
Right.
You guys rocked it. So tell me a little about this song and let's play it.
Well, this is a song I wrote with a buddy of mine, Justin Favis, and he came in with this title called Me and Bon Jovi, and I'm like, gosh, I love the title. He had a list of, like I'm going to produce this project, right? And he's like, I said, well, bring me some titles of some stuff that you think is cool. And he's boom, 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 boom. And the very bottom one was me and Bon Jovi. And I'm like, wow, what the heck is that about? and he goes, I don't know. I just like it. He said, I had a girlfriend, that back in high school that, she was in love with Bon Jovi, and I said, I had a girlfriend, in high school that was in love with Judas Priest, I go, you probably can't use Judas Priest in a song, and, my wife loves Duran Duran, you can't use,
I just flashed back to my high school days. My girlfriend loved Aerosmith.
Right. Yes, exactly. Yeah. And so it's always like, the girlfriend's got the posters of the bands,
Oh, yeah.
And so, and I was like, wow, well, what if it was like, like that this relationship didn't work out, and and you're wishing that you could go back to those days when she had the Bon Jovi poster on the wall, but she loved him and me and Bon Jovi, and so that was kind of how I kind of formulated it into that, to make it work like that. And so now when I talk about the song, it's all about Tommy and Gina, right?
Oh, yeah.
From Living on a Prayer, it's like, well, okay, we got to incorporate some of this, some of the songs, and so I've got a bunch of the song titles in here, Bon Jovi's,
Well, that's a great way to approach it.
Yeah.
Really well.
So it just kind of added another element of like, okay, we're going to dig a little deeper into the Bon Jovi catalog here. And we're both fans of Bon Jovi, we love him and all that stuff. And so anyways, the hook is, what I wouldn't give if you could take me back to when she was loving me and Bon Jovi.
Ah, okay.
She was loving me and Bon Jovi.
Yep.
And so
you got to set up that hook. You have to.
Yeah, right.
We talked about it. It's the most important thing in a song.
It makes more sense, once you kind of get the setup on it. And I say that that Tommy moved to Nashville, when he brought a broken heart, and so what does he do? He writes songs,
exactly
about Gina, right?
It sounds plausible to me.
It didn't really happen, but it'd be funny if it did.
Well, we could say it did.
Yeah.
You wrote it that it did.
Even in the song, I said, guess that job on the docks couldn't buy you that rock that you wanted. Because Tommy used to work on the docks, right?
Exactly,
and so
right.
I was thinking about that. And I'm like, oh, well, maybe he didn't, buy her the ring that she wanted. Maybe that's why she left him or something. It's like he couldn't buy her the rock because he was working on the docks. He didn't make a whole lot of money, but they loved each other, and and maybe that wasn't enough.
Songwriting gold, right there.
Right,
yep.
Exactly. Thank you, Desmond Child, for
Desmond Child. That's right.
That's right. But
also a Nashvilleian.
Yeah, that's right. He lives here too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But this is me and Bon Jovi. She was 16 and between Daddy's Girl and Maybelline. I was a pack of cigarettes and a half tank of gasoline. She's a wannabe runaway, and I just gave love a bad name. Yeah, I was her Tommy. She was my Gina, that blue-collar prayer we were living on needed. A couple scalp tickets, light her up kisses, front row sneak-up seats. We were sitting, that look on her face, the lights went down. It felt like it was just her and me. Bon Jovi, she was singing, do you want to make a memory? It's my life, but that was back in time, 'cause missing her ain't never been no better. What I wouldn't give you could take me back when she was loving me and Bon Jovi. Up and ran away, we were halfway there. Guess it could have been good, we could have made it, I swear. Guess that job on the docks couldn't buy you that rock that you wanted. Still remember that look on her face when the lights went down. And it felt like it was just her and me. Bon Jovi, she was singing, do you want to make a memory? It's my life, but that was back in time, 'cause missing her ain't never been no better. What I wouldn't give you could take me back when she was loving me and Bon Jovi. Felt like like it was just her and me. Bon Jovi, she was singing, do you wanna make a memory? It's my life, but that was back in time, 'cause missing her ain't never been no bed of roses. Well, I wouldn't give you could take me back when she was loving. What I wouldn't give you could take me back to when she was loving. Me and Bon Jovi. Me and Bon Jovi.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful, man. Also have that Bon Jovi kind of a vibe too,
does,
you know,
yeah.
which comes into songwriting. Yeah. and putting this, learning to say things differently.
Yes.
One line described to me who you were. One line. It was, I was a pack of cigarettes and a half a tank of gas.
Right.
But come on. Does that tell you everything you need to know?
That's the Firecrackers.
That's the Firecracker. Good way to emphasize that.
Yes.
In this. There's a lesson for you folks.
Yeah.
Put a firecracker in every verse.
Firecracker in every verse and
I
every
want to use that
chorus
from now on, man.
That's the bar.
That's the bar.
That's the low. That's the low bar right there. We got to get above that bar.
That's where it's at. The other thing, do you do in that check-in? And I see a lot of up-and-coming people in rounds, you know, around town. I attend a lot of those rounds. And you get a lot of them, they'll get up there and they do that strum, all 6 strings.
Right.
And you go, and so I always say, listen, play the strings that matter.
They learn one strum
right?
pattern, right?
Yeah, one strum
play
pattern.
it every song.
Yeah. So the way you check through that's just great. That grabs people's attention, you know, because it's a beat as well.
Yeah.
You know, not just strumming around the
but my guitar playing makes up what my singing lacks.
Well, I lack all of that. So, but we're going to take a quick break. We're coming back. Erik Halbig is with us on Songwriter Connection. Oh, go ahead.
You're listening to the Songwriter Connection with Dave Linehan. Find us on Facebook and YouTube
Absolutely.
at the Songwriter Connection Podcast. And find Dave at thedaveconnection.com.
Me too.
Now back to the show with your host, Dave Linehan.
Thank you, Kate. Certainly appreciate it. By the way, if you're listening on YouTube, you click subscribe and like. And we would really appreciate that. The best thing you can do for us, though, really, is tell one person. Just one person this week that's into songwriting, into music, loves to hear the stories behind the songs. Just tell them, hey, check out Songwriter Connection. I would appreciate that. We also have the Spotify playlist that I like to plug every time we have a guest on. And every Wednesday we publish 2 a.m. Central Time in the U.S. I know we get listeners all over the world, and we certainly appreciate that out there. I really do. But we take 1 or 2 songs from that artist, and we put it on our playlist, and you'll hear some amazing songs. You stream it. Put it on repeat. You know, just let go. Just go. You're going to be surprised what you hear. Erik Halbig is our guest. Great guitar player, singer, songwriter, a road warrior. He's also a mentor to many up and coming young talent here in this town. As a matter of fact, I wrote with someone last week that you produced and been bringing along, Katie Matthews.
Yes,
what
Katie.
a wonderful young gal. Met her at the Bluebird.
Right.
Yeah, she is amazing. Mm-hmm. What a voice.
Really great. She's, I met her. I was playing a show with Ty Herndon in Wendover, Nevada, which is right on the Utah border, and she's from Utah. And she was opening the show, and she was like, "I'm going to sing a duet with you guys." You know, we're like, "Oh, really?
You are?"
Okay. And she picked out one of Ty's songs and learned it. You know that he had done a duet with Terry Clark, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so she sang the Terry Clark part, you know, on this song.
Wow.
And then we just became friends, and I was like, well, what are you doing? You're great. Why are you here in Utah, you know? And
so you're the reason she came to town?
Yeah. So she
well, thank you for that.
Packed up her stuff and her husband and her 4 kids.
4 kids.
And moved them all here to Nashville, you know, and she's pursuing it. And we've been writing songs together, and I produced a really cool project on her.
She played me a few of the songs.
Yeah.
So, she's a sweet.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're working with her.
Yeah.
Anybody else like that you feel's on the bubble right now?
Yeah, I've got a guy named Brad Schroeder that I'm working with.
Brad
Schroeder.
Okay.
Yeah. And
good Irish name.
Yeah, we're doing some cool stuff right now, and he's just releasing some songs that we wrote together and that I produced on him. And we just cut another batch of 4 3 or 4 songs, something like that, the other day in the studio, and I just got a mix back on one of them.
Wow.
And it's a really cool song about the brotherhood of the military veterans.
Oh, I love that.
And it's called The Right or Left, to my right or left. It's like the guys to my right and left,
Exactly.
And it's all about the brotherhood of, he's a military veteran himself.
Yeah.
And so he really wanted to kind of tap into that and talk about that a little bit. And he had a buddy of his who was a military veteran, and and we just got to talking about it. And this guy had written this speech, and I was like, he said something about, the guys to my right and left. I'm like, that's their title right there. That's the thing. Because we were like, well, I don't know what to write about. It's like, it's all been written, There's all these patriotic songs and stuff like that.
You feel that way sometimes, don't you?
But yeah, I think we managed to find a way of writing this song so where it wasn't like the predictable buzzwords that everybody uses, the freedoms and the, blah, 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 all that, whatever.
Right.
And so, but I think we, and the cool thing was I got to play it for some of my buddies who actually were our veterans, that were, one of my buddies that I grew up with, he was in Desert Storm, and he was, one of the guys, and I sent it to him, and he's still out in California, and he's like working some job, like, paving asphalt or something like that with all these dudes and stuff like that. And I sent him this song, and he goes, gosh, dang it, why'd you send me this song? I'm sitting here bawling my eyes out in front of all these other guys, Oh,
man.
And I was like, okay, well, maybe we're onto something here. And then he sent it to his, one of his generals, that he worked under and stuff like that. And that guy's going crazy about it. And, so like...
Songs have a life of their own.
They could. You get, like if you do it right and it's believable and it's not like just, you're just trying to patronize, something, and I think these guys are like, okay, yeah, this is real, and...
Gotcha.
And it's a real thing. When you're serving over there and you're in a hole with some guys that are shooting at you, and it's like, okay, we're brothers.
We're absolutely brothers,
fighting for each other. And
you set it up so well. Would it be putting you on the spot to ask if you can play that?
Yeah, I probably couldn't play right now because not yet. But
that's
I will.
What we got to watch for.
I'll send you the song. Yeah,
please do.
Because we just got a mix back on it. It sounds really great. Yeah, and I haven't really learned how to play it yet, but I mean, well enough to like really play it for you now. But
well, we're live around the dining room table, as we say, and this is this table loves songs live.
Yeah.
So you want to play another one for us?
Sure. Yeah.
He's an amazing songwriter, folks. Really is.
Oh, thanks.
Every song of that Night of the Bluebird, like, whoa.
Well, speaking of the Bluebird, I played this one at the Bluebird too.
Okay.
And we were talking about making up words, right?
Right.
Ghostlahoma.
Ghostlahoma. I love this song. I'm so glad you're going to play that.
And so the backstory on this was I was writing with my good friends Megan Connor and Lauren Massetti. And we were writing another song, and we're in the middle of it, and we got to talking about, a breakup, where a guy just kind of disappeared, bailed, ghosted this girl.
Yeah.
And I go, what, did he take her to Ghostlahoma or something, And they both were like, wait, what? What is that? I go, I don't know, I just made it up, Again, it was like we were talking about before. Jeff told me gotta-havables, the words, you make up these words, that like, it kind of makes sense because it's like, okay, so we wrote it about Oklahoma and about getting ghosted and a relationship that didn't work and all the rest of that stuff.
Love it.
And it's so funny. I played this at Randy's Revival.
Did you?
On Monday.
Yeah.
On Monday.
Yeah.
And I've never had this happen before. Huh. But I'm playing and I'm singing the chorus and people in the audience are singing along with me.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, you know that you've written a great song when that happens.
You don't even know this song.
Yep.
But, it was funny. It was that they were like, because in the chorus it's goodbye and there's a little pause. And then people getting goodbye and I'm like, goodbye. They're saying goodbye and I'm like, wait, this is cool. Keep doing this. At the end of the chorus, I was like, you guys keep singing. This is awesome.
I love that.
But it was so fun, and it was really cool. We love Randy. Randy Driscoll is our
Randy. We love
friend.
Randy's been on this show a few times.
Randy's Revival every Monday, or just about every Monday night, I think.
Every other Monday, I think.
Every other Monday.
Yeah, twice a month. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's
and
so
then twice
cool.
a month she is an open mic with me.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, she was talking about that.
In Nashville.
She mentioned that on stage the other night, too.
Yeah, that's always a blast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay, well, I'll play you Goodbye, Ghostlahoma.
I love this.
You dropped next month's rent, red on roulette if I had to bet on it. Went all in on some bottom shelf gin, too gone to know I was calling. The first time was the last time, about 100 times ago. I'd still be in Tennessee if only I had known. The girl I love had disappeared. Looked like her, but she's not here. Oh, Tulsa, it's past time I let you go. So goodbye, 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 Oklahoma. That I don't even know you. Goodbye, 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 Oklahoma. And I don't even know you anymore. OKC's got tumbleweeds and skeletons in your closet. One less me for you to not see, just memories to haunt you. The girl I love has disappeared. You look like her, she's not here. Oh, Tulsa, it's past time I let you go. So goodbye, 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 Oklahoma. And I don't even know you. Goodbye, 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 Oklahoma. And I don't even know you can't look me in the eye and tell me that I didn't try. I don't even notice my goodbye, 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 Oklahoma. And I don't even owe you. Goodbye, 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 Oklahoma. And I don't even know you anymore.
Great song, man.
Oh, thanks.
Great song, Oklahoma, with Lauren Massetti.
Lauren Massetti.
She's been on the show. Forgive that.
Has she? Yeah.
I love her and Nana.
Paisano.
Oh, Paisano, yes. We found out we're distant relatives.
She's an Ohio girl, too.
Ohio girl, too, yeah. So Nero was my grandfather's name, and that was in her family as well. So well, I say, hey, cuz, how's
I love it.
I wish, right?
She's so great. I just wrote with her yesterday, as a matter of fact.
Did you really?
Yeah.
She just signed a record deal, I saw. Yeah?
Publishing deal.
Publishing deal.
Yeah.
Good for her.
Yeah, that record deal, I think, is on its way, too, though.
Yeah.
I think it's coming in.
Should be.
She is so darn good.
So talented.
So talented. Great writer, great singer, great human being.
Yes, she really is.
Awesome.
With a huge fan base.
Yeah.
People love her. Yeah. Absolutely.
And her sweet Nana just turned 88 yesterday.
Yes, she did. God bless her. She's amazing. So I want you to put on the producer's hat.
Okay.
And first, let's start with how did you get into producing?
Well, okay, so being a session guitar player, you do a lot of producing while you're
there,
just a session guy.
Yeah,
you know? And you've probably done a bunch of sessions where the players are like, "Hey, what about this? Hey, what about this? What about this?" You know, and I was always kind of playing guitar parts from a producer's lens, you know, and thinking about like, okay, this thing needs a signature lick, you know.
Yeah.
What about
this? I was
this?
hoping you get into that.
What about something like this, you know? Yeah. And because, you know, like, I mean, think about a song like Chattahoochee.
Oh, yeah.
You know, Alan Jackson's song. You know, that down, you know, like that is such an integral part of the song now. But I don't think that Alan Jackson wrote it that way.
Oh, no.
You know, when Brent Mason played that, you know, on the thing, I think that he was like, you know, I think that he said, you know, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that he said that he was playing a lot more intricate stuff on there, and the producer said, no, simplify it. And it was so great because it was like, now that thing is like, you hear that and you're like, Chattahoochee, you know, and so that's what I'm always trying to do when I'm a session player, when I'm playing on somebody else's session, is I want to come up with a part that's so integral to that song that it has to be played. You cannot play the song without playing this lick. Yeah. And I approach guitar solos that way too.
Well, you know, and you say that, and you came from L.A., and I think about the Wrecking Crew days.
Jeez,
and
amazing.
The bass player, what was her name? Carol Kane. Carol Kane.
Yeah.
And she came up with that little bass part, the start of Boots Are Made for Walking.
Yeah.
And as soon as you hear that, you know what song that is. But that was all Carol Kane.
And she played on the Beach Boys stuff too.
And the Beach Boys stuff, yes.
And I think that Brian Wilson would sing her the bass part. He said, this is the part I want you to play. Like, he was like that big a genius producer that in his mind, he had everybody's parts. You know, he would, had the bass part. He would go say, this is what you to play on the bass. And then he'd go around to all the harmony singers and you sing this harmony and these crazy whacked out harmonies that sound really weird by themselves. But then, and he'd spend a half an hour with each one of them memorizing that part. And then, now you do, and you remember your part, and you got this part. And then they all sing it together. I was like, oh my gosh, where did that come from? But I mean, that's the kind of genius that guy was, as a producer.
Did you find a difference between what goes on in the Nashville studio and what goes on in L.A.?
Totally different.
Yeah?
100% different. So the Nashville number system is a system of...
Doesn't exist
charts.
in L.A.? They don't do the charts?
Never had. And I was at USC School of Music. I was studying... studio and jazz guitar at USC. That was my major. I got an undergrad bachelor's degree in music performance at USC, and I was studying with, like guys that were playing on television shows, like all the cop TV shows in the 80s. The Magnum PIs, Hill Street Blues, Quantum Leap. All those shows. He was the guy that Steve Watson. He played guitar on all those songs, and so it was really great for me because I'm studying with a guy that's actually doing this. It's not just like a guitar teacher guy. He's like a actual session player. And so he would bring in, like, he'd go and do a morning session for some television show or something, or the A Team or whatever, and then he'd bring the chart in to me that he had to play, and it's all written out notes. There's no like, GCD or anything like that. It was all, intricate, like all these crazy, all those parts were all written out, and those guys had to be able to read that stuff.
Oh, man.
And so I really spent a lot of time working on becoming a good sight reader and all that stuff. And so he would go, okay, I'm going to put this music in front of you, and you got like 2 minutes to look it over, and the red light goes on. And then you got to be able to play it because everybody else on this session is a great songwriter. It's a great sight reader. So you got to be able to do that too. And so it was really great experience for me to see what that was all about, And I really wanted to stay there. And I'll make this story quick. But the reason I left was after college, I'd gotten to know a lot of the guys in the film scoring department. They had a Spielberg film scoring department at USC, and these guys were doing really amazing stuff. And I became friends with all those guys during school, and I would play on their projects, while we were still in college, and I'd play guitar for them. And like, hey, remember me, when you're out there, and you need a guitar player, and one guy did.
Oh, wow. And
he started calling me for stuff, and I did a big thing with a bunch of the LA Philharmonic, players, string players and stuff like that.
Wow.
Incredible. A studio, it was a Warner Brothers, it was Warner Brothers Studios up in Hollywood. And then and that went really well. He hired me to do another studio at Disney Studio up in Studio City or whatever. And it rained the night before. And in LA, it never rains.
Doesn't rain.
And when it rains,
Southern California,
nobody knows how to drive. That's true. And the traffic was horrible. I couldn't get there. I missed the session. I couldn't get there because of traffic.
How frustrating.
Yeah, it was so frustrating. And I was like, okay, this is a pivotal moment for me. Yeah. My career is dependent on being able to get to these sessions on time.
Yeah.
And maybe it was the universe, just saying, Nashville's the place for you, because if I'd have stayed, I would have had to move up to Studio City or North Hollywood or whatever and be kind of closer to where all that stuff was. So I didn't have that, issue of, driving from Orange County into, North Hollywood and missing a session because, this was like, something that's just a little thing, but, when you're playing like an actual TV date, like we're some big television show, it's a whole different story. And if you miss that, it's like, you could never get called again, And so anyways, I moved to Nashville, and the Nashville had a thriving session guitar scene here, and they're making demos and records and custom record projects and stuff like that.
And this thing called the Nashville number system.
Nashville number system is a way of notating music.
Did you know that before you came? Did you know the number system? Did it seem to make sense to you right away?
Right away. Yeah. Because I knew music theory. And because I'd studied music theory, I got a bachelor's degree in music, so I know music theory. I understand it really well.
Now,
so the 1, 4, 5s and the, all that.
I don't want to waste your time talking about the Nashville Sing, but I do want to tell people that are listening, if you're curious about that, you can look it up online.
Yeah.
And it really enables these session musicians to pick that song up. So it always amazed me, the first demo session I did here in town, they listened to about half of the work tape.
Right.
And they had it was all charted in front of them, ones and twos and zeros and diamonds and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And they go in the studio like they've been playing it all their life.
Yep.
It's because of that system.
That's why, and it's so efficient. And I think it was initially by the Jordanaires that used to sing, a lot of the Elvis records and a lot of other records and stuff like that. They developed the system because a lot of times the singers would come in and go, I don't really want to sing it in this key. Let's move it down a half step. And you're like, we wrote it out A, D, E, and all that. And like, okay.
And now we got to transpose it.
Yeah. And so the number system is very efficient for transposing. And that's why it's so efficient.
It really is. It really helps you, especially transition.
Oh my gosh.
I was just doing it the other day. The song that I wrote, I was trying to work up to maybe play it out. And that's too high for me. So,
yeah.
And there's only so far you can go with a capo.
Right, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Or tuning it down half a step.
Yeah.
So you learn to adapt.
Right, exactly.
So you know what that one chord is, you can do it.
Right. Exactly. It's a movable one.
So pretty cool. So what was the first thing you did when you got to town?
So when I first moved to town, I was working with a girl who I had worked with in L.A. Her name is Gina Butler, and she had gotten a financial investor, which, coincidentally, I helped her find this investor. It was a friend of mine in L.A.
Wow.
He's like, I'm looking for a girl in Nashville to invest money. And I'm like, okay, cool. I got this friend. She just moved to Nashville. She's already there, and she'd been bugging me about moving to Nashville for a while.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, all right, and she goes, if you come to Nashville, I'll put you on salary right away.
Ooh.
This investor's got money. And so I came in with a job to
awesome.
Nashville, which was amazing. Yeah, it was so great. And so we were working together. There was a gig, a bar out here in Lebanon, called Tilly and Lucy's, which I don't know if it's still there or not. But the house band was a guy named Trace Adkins.
Oh my God!
At the time, and he had just gotten a record deal, like right when I got here, and so we took over that gig. Because they needed a new house band for Friday and Saturday nights. And so Gina took over that gig, and we were playing that gig. And, during the week, we're working on writing songs, and we're working on, kind of building her brand and building her thing up and stuff like that. And it didn't really work out for her. She never got a record deal. But then she, while she's doing that, she's also making cupcakes, and she started, her brother had seen this cupcake place in New York that had a line around the block. He goes, oh my God, your cupcakes are way better than this. You should make cupcakes. And so she got an investor and started this place called Gigi's Cupcakes.
That is Gigi?
That's Gigi.
Those are awesome.
Yeah.
Those are amazing.
The big frosting on top,
It was brilliant because it used to be right behind Nashville's hot chicken place, Hattie B's. So you'd have your hot chicken and you'd go off with a cupcake.
Exactly.
And it was perfect.
One-stop shop.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
It was that Gina. How about that?
Gina.
Small world.
Wow.
Wow.
So she's a singer, and she always wanted to do the music thing, but that thing just took off so big.
Wow.
And she ended up having over 100 different locations all over the country and all over the world. She was franchising this thing out, and I think she ended up selling the whole thing. And she's out, and she'd retired and living in Florida now. So
well, there you go. You can't blame her.
But yeah, she was one of my best friends, and and we were trying to get the music thing going, and the cupcake thing just
wow.
She became the cupcake rock star.
Sometimes you never know where it's going to lead, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Be open to all possibilities.
Exactly.
Now, you talked about, and this is something I want to just touch on briefly before we hear one more song, because it is so important, and you help develop songwriters in talent, and you brought up the word branding yourself.
So important.
It's very important.
It's everything.
It's everything.
And it just, in all the years that I've been here, I'm trying to figure out what is it, because you hear some of these singers are like, they're okay, not that great. And I hear like these other singers that are singing background vocals on these records that sing circles around the artist,
Right.
And
it's not always about the talent, is it?
It's not about the talent. It's about the brand, and the brand, I'll use Kenny Chesney as an example. When he became the Jimmy Buffett of country music, when he started singing about being on a beach and the sun going down, and the orange ball into water, and he's sitting on a blue chair drinking a Corona, and that's when everything changed for him. I don't know if you remember him from the very beginning.
I do, from the very beginning.
I'm sure.
And he never really was the greatest singer.
No.
I mean, really, and he'd probably be the first to say that.
First one to tell you, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And it didn't. And he also realized it didn't matter.
It didn't matter.
It wasn't what it was about.
Yeah.
It's about finding those songs that fit that brand.
That fit your brand. So, what is your brand, folks? Right?
Yeah.
I love that.
The sun goes down on the water. He just kept putting out songs like that. He'd be the puka shells, cowboy hat.
Yeah.
And he started working out and got the guns.
Yeah.
I played with them in '95. I was. They did or '94. It was the celebrity golf tournament for the ACMs. The ACMs used to be in LA, and so they would have a celebrity golf tournament every year.
Yeah.
And our band became the house band.
Nice.
For all these different artists. And Kenny was one of the artists that we played with, and he was just kind of like not that big of a deal at that point, you know. And he was good, but he wasn't like, he didn't have those hit songs yet. You know, and it wasn't until he just started doing the whole Jimmy Buffett country thing, he's selling out arenas. I mean, he passed by Tim McGraw and, you know, and like became the biggest thing in country music at that time, you know. But it was all about finding the right brand for him. If he had just stuck to doing what he was doing, that was like, you know, he'd be a mid-level artist, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But changing that brand arguably made him the biggest thing in country music.
So how do we find our brand?
It's different with everybody. It's got to be believable from them. So you can't just attach a brand to somebody. Like Kenny lived that. I mean, he bought an island. You know,
he did.
He's living on an island now, so he's got a lot of inspiration for that now.
Yeah, and a few boats.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think that it has to be believable. Like if think about like all the big artists. You know, the Shania Twains, the Dixie Chicks. They all have their thing. You know,
Lainey Wilson.
Lainey Wilson. Yeah,
and now Ella Langley.
Yeah. I mean, Lainey was the cowgirl, you know, with the cowboy hat
and the bell bottoms.
And the bell bottoms, and that's her brand. And she doesn't get too far away from that. Look at Jason Aldean. Like most of his songs are about small towns.
Yeah.
And when I got
on the verge of rock and roll. As his producer will tell you.
Exactly.
You know,
yeah. Well, I mean, all those guys that play in his band, his road band, play on his record too.
Yeah.
And those are like some of my best friends. We all moved to town at the same time.
Are they really?
That was how I ended up playing on the showcase with them because,
I'll be darned.
You know, those guys are my best buddies.
What an exciting life you've led, man.
It's pretty cool. You know, I've been here long enough, you know, just long enough to fall into some cool stuff, you know.
It's important to show up and show up on time. Right?
Exactly. Right.
Yeah.
And so, but I mean, when I got my publishing deal with Magic Mustang, which is Broken Bow's publishing company, you know, they told me, they said, well, Jason writes here too. You know, he's a signed writer here as well. And I said, well, does he ever write? And I'm like, well, let's write. I'll write with him, you know. And he's like, well, he doesn't really write, you know. And I remember, you know, the guy, he was the attorney for the label, and he was like, he told Jason, he said, why don't you just go and write with one of these great writers, you know, sit down for 3 hours and, you know, you can make $500,000. And he goes, if I want to make $500,000, I'll go do a show. So I don't think he had the desire to be a songwriter.
As a songwriter's point of view, I wish there were more artists like that.
Exactly. He's making a lot of songwriters very wealthy.
Yes, he is. Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
But I think that if you think about like all of his songs, Tattoos on This Town, Try This in a Small Town, you know, everything is these small town things. Amarillo Skies, you know.
That's his brand.
They don't get too far away from that. And he told me that. He said he wears that same hat when he performs. He wears the jeans and the shirt. And that's his look. That's part of the brand too. Your look is part of your brand. What you're singing about is part of your brand. Like he'll deviate a little bit from that, but he comes right back. You know, always comes back to the small town something or other, you know.
Interesting.
And that's why he's been so successful. And it's like you don't mess with something that's working. You know, you got a successful brand, you keep that thing going, you know, as long as you can. And
so that's part of what you do is artist development. Help people discover their brand.
Exactly.
It's authentic to them.
The biggest part of what I do.
Wow.
Is trying to find that. And trying to find that thing, like with Katie Matthews we're talking about. She's a mom. And so we got to talking about it.
Oh, that song.
Yeah.
Hurts Like a Mother.
Hurts Like a Mother.
Did you write on that?
I didn't write that one. That was CJ Solar wrote that with her. But
he's going to be on this show here, I think, maybe even next week, I think. So.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
And Mama's Boy,
Mama's Boy. Oh,
I'm raising a Mama's Boy.
That's right.
And so we're kind of like leaning into that. She's a cool mom, and that kind of thing. Nobody's really, capitalizing on that. And that's her. She couldn't do that. Like,
You tell me now that after I've written with her. Right?
Yeah, right. Well, keep that in mind. And she should have told you that. I told her, I was like, when you write with people, you tell them.
We wrote a great song. She had, she came, she's a perfect example. She came and she had a really good idea.
Yeah.
And she had so much imagery in the idea. Yeah. And I'm like, oh my God, we got to use that. We got to use that. And there's just things that she had written down. And I'm like, whoa, she's pretty brilliant.
Right.
She really is. So, come to an idea. Come to your session with an idea.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
And always tell your co-writers what your brand is. And tell them, we're trying to write towards this. So, if you got any ideas that, for Mama ideas or whatever,
Exactly. Yeah.
She's your girl, she's going to, and that's what we're trying to really, and she's talking to some people right now in the industry, and
good.
And we'll see what happens.
Good.
Hopefully something great's going to happen with her.
Well, she's got a great mentor in you.
Thank you. Yeah. Thanks. Yeah, but she's doing everything right, I think, and good. Not everybody listens, You can lead the horse to water, you can't make it drink, though.
That's absolutely the truth.
But sometimes they do, and she's a great example of somebody that wants it really bad, and she's willing to do the work. Put in the work and make sure you
because as we know, it takes a lot more than talent.
It sure does. How
about a song to close this out? Something that you wrote, and a little story behind it. And
cool.
Erik Halbig has been our guest. Great stuff today, Erik. I can't thank you. Man, learned so much.
So in the spirit of making up words,
by the way, you also have a band that's incredible. I've not seen it yet, but I got to come out and see you guys.
Yes, please.
Your cover band is called
8-Track.
8-Track.
Yes.
Oh man,
it's so fun.
That's my era, baby.
It's 70s.
70s stuff.
It's 70s.
I was a kid in the 70s, and I loved all that.
Oh my gosh! And we wear the long hair wigs.
Do you? Right.
And we go into character. We got like different names.
Oh, I love it.
Like the singer goes by Rick Jagger instead of Mick Jagger.
Rick Jagger. Yeah. I love it.
And so he was like, we got to come up with a name for you. And he goes, how about Dan Halen?
Dan Halen. I love it.
And so Dan Halen has evolved into Lieutenant Dan Halen.
Of course.
And so I wear like an old military shirt with Zeppelin, patches on it and a little, headband with an American flag on it and stuff. I got an American flag on my pants. And
please tell me next time you're playing.
I will.
We're going to be there. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's super fun.
Okay. That's cool. So, commercial for 8-Track there.
You'll know every song.
Yeah. See, that's the way I think. I'm like all over the place. But back to the song.
I love it.
Yeah, I love that. I got to see that band. Beautiful.
So this is another song where I took two words and put them together. Mm-hmm. Hallelujah and y'all. Hallelujah, y'all.
You played this in the Bluebird.
I played this in the Bluebird with you, yeah.
Yep.
And so we're just having fun. Again, this is with Lauren Massetti and Megan Connor, And
wow.
I had this idea about putting these two words together, just like, what Jeff said. He said, put words, make your own words up, do all that thing. And I'm listening to the mentor. I'm listening to the guy that
Jeffrey
knows,
Steele.
I don't fight the system here, and he, he's had a lot of success with it. And
yes,
so,
he has.
Anyway, so we, I came up with this title and I brought it to the girls. They're like, oh yeah, we're writing that, So anyway, so this is and it kind of ended up being kind of a welcome to Nashville, a welcome to Tennessee. It could be a Tennessee tourism song.
Oh, there you go.
So we'll see. From my mouth to God's ear, and we'll see what happens.
There you go.
But I know Lauren's publishing company's pitching this around right now. I was just writing with her at her publisher yesterday, and he was like, he goes, he asked me what name was, and I told him, and he was like, wait, I know your name. And Lauren goes, he wrote Hallelujah with me. And he goes, oh, I love that song. We're pitching that. We're going to get that thing cut. And I'm like,
cool, man.
Yes, please do.
Please do.
That would be awesome. But it's a fun song. And, I got everybody singing along at the Bluebird, and I got everybody singing along the other day at Randy's Revival. And
yes, you did.
But this is Hallelujah. This place, ripped right from a page of a granddad's bedside beat up. Worn out old King James, Amazing Grace, everyone's a neighbor kind of town. Every day's a Sunday, always an open door. Someone sipping shine and talking about the Lord on this sacred ground. Hell-bent and heaven-bound. Hallelujah, come back now, you hear. We'll keep the rivers muddy and the ice cold on the beer. It's clear there's a Smoky Mountain heaven in a song. Can I get a howdy and a hallelujah? Even the pines wave to say hello, and the weeping willows cry when you say you gotta go. So stay a while, pull up a rocker and set a piece. Biscuits in the oven, dumplings on the stove, front porch made for sitting, guitars picking, sweet home Alabama, right here in Tennessee. Hallelujah, come back now, you hear. Keep the rivers muddy and the ice cold on the beer. It's clear there's a Smoky Mountain heaven in a song. Can I get a howdy and a hallelujah? Let's keep the roads dirt and the town small. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, come back now, you hear. We'll keep the rivers muddy and the ice cold on the beer. It's clear there's a Smoky Mountain heaven in a song. Can I get a howdy and a hallelujah?
Who wouldn't want to cut that song? That's an anthem. I can hear the crowd yelling back, hallelujah. That's brilliant.
From your mouth to God's ears.
I can hear a lot of different artists doing that one.
Me too.
Absolutely, brother. All the best with that.
Thank you.
Yeah, and everything you do. So before we go, you've got some cool things going on, TikTok and YouTube, and people can find you.
Yeah.
Tell us about it real quick.
Yeah, so the YouTube is just my name, Erik Halbig, ErikHalbig. And on the channel, I'm talking about everything Nashville. I'm talking about songwriting. I'm talking about being a session guitar player. I've got videos of me doing guitar overdubs, talking about using 12-string guitars, baritone guitars, and different tunings and, all the different things you use as a session guitar player. But I'm also talking about songwriting on there too, and talking about co-writing and learning about, being effective with your co-writes and writing with artists and knowing how to, figure out what their brand is and don't just write anything with them. You're making the rhymes interesting. You make sure that the rhymes are not the predictable rhymes. Make sure the rhymes are, stuff that, you're like, oh, wow, I wish I'd thought of that.
Yeah.
Like the Firecrackers we talked about earlier. Yeah, so I talk about all that stuff on this channel. And I'm just starting it, so I don't have a whole lot of subscribers yet. So I'd love for everybody to come and like and subscribe the videos.
Please do that, folks.
And please subscribe to the channel and, follow me on TikTok. And, I'll give you a lot of good free information that it'll be very valuable as a writer and as just a musician in Nashville.
Perfect. I'll be checking it out, folks. Yes. I hope you do too. Thanks for taking the time to being on this show.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
It's been good to get to know you, my friend.
Oh, same.
I appreciate it. Erik Halbig has been our guest, and folks listening at home, tell somebody about Songwriter Connection, and like I always say, right on.
That's a wrap from the dining room table. Thanks for joining the conversation and chasing the music with us. From Nashville, Tennessee, this is the Songwriter Connection, the award-winning elite music podcast of the year, connecting the songs and the people who write them.